first hypothetical trade that I've seen, it's gotten a lot of traction online. Sixers would trade Matisse Thybulle, and then our 23rd pick, if the Nets don't give that to us, if the Nets do give it to us and they don't want to take it this year, to Oklahoma City for Luguentz Dort. So I'm a huge Dort fan, and I love this trade, but what do you guys think about that potential for trade? So our 23rd Matisse for Dort.
To me, that's a tough one because I think with Dort, it kind of depends on how they envision using him and also the kind of contract they envision giving him. I think that I need to see a little more because, if you're opening up and you're taking away, that pick, like, what are you going to do to replace it? Are you going to get a free agent? Or are you going to get another young guy on a minimum contract? I'm not necessarily crazy about that because I do like him. I don't know how it will fit with us, but I do like his defense and his toughness. I do like that a lot. Is he going to play three? Like what does this move Maxey to the bench? I just got to see a little more for me to kind of be overly convinced on this particular trade.
Yeah, Teja, I know you're a big Dort fan. We've talked about his height being playing a three at his kind of stature. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think if they did it, I would think they'd have that in mind. He is undersized. He's jacked up, but he's not tall. I think he's like 6'3". So he plays big, and I've seen him even guard Durant on plays. So he can switch and he can guard bigger defenders. So I would assume they would try to put him at three. I do like the deal, though. I mean, man, Thybulle's just been so up and down for me. As far as the pick 23 goes, I'm cool with it because Doc doesn't really like playing rookies anyway. So we're giving away the next blue coat starter by giving away 23. He's not going to play more than 5 minutes next year. Let's be honest here. Contractually, Thybulle has pretty much 2 more years under team control because we had this next year and then he's a restricted free agent after that. Dort only has this year. So the main reason why I think OKC might do it is so they'd have control over a really good defender for 2 more years instead of having to give pretty much Dort the contract like this next year. To me, I would think it's worth the risk if they think, yeah, he can play 3. We can just lock him in at 3. He's a much better scorer. I think Matisse is good at picking passing lanes and being a weak side blocker. He's one of the best in the league at that. I think Dort might be a better on-ball defender, though, as far as just locking a guy down. But yeah, I like it a lot. I mean, but yes, you need to know, is he going to be a lock-in player at 3? He shoots better at 3-point percentage. I think 34 and 33% the last 2 years. And Thybulle actually surprisingly shot 31. So he's only 2% points less than him. Yes, Dort shoots 7 a game and Thybulle shoots 2 a game. That's a huge difference. So Thybulle has improved in the last 2 years, maybe on 1 percentage point. But I mean, if he could just take a jump at 3s, this would be a non. We wouldn't even be talking about this if Thybulle could average even 8 a game. But 4 and 5 a game when we're playing 4-on-5 on offense, it's rough, man. We saw what it does to us in the playoffs when you're playing with one man down on offense. We can't afford to have that happen.
Yeah, I think I don't know. What do you guys think about this? So the fact, let's say we do have him try to play him at 3. Maxey, Harden, him. Those are 3 guys 6'5" below, and then and we talked about how we kind of got outboarded in that Heat game. We didn't have we hadn't the size nor the the tenacity, but I think Dort would bring the kind of that aggression and tenacity on the team. But as far as the height, that's just something you can't really account for.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's tough. I think that it sounds enticing with the stuff Teja just said, but it still leaves questions to some of the issues that we had in the season. So it's plug and play, but you still have more to address.
Yeah. I think that's not the kind of deal where you're like, all right, off season done. Let's go to next season. I think that would be like one of 2 to 3 more deals that we would have to maybe do to get this team right, especially if you're limited in free agency. But yeah, no, I think it would give us the dog aspect we're looking for. We wouldn't lose defense with him, and we get more offense. I mean, I don't think he'd average 17 points per game with us anyway next year. But if you gave a guy who played really good defense at 3 and gave us like 11 points a game, I think that's a huge win. I mean, if Thybulle could average 11, man, we'd lock him down for the next like 5 years. So,
you don't think you get there?
At this rate, yeah, he'd get there by the time he's like 32.
I'm just saying, like, within, you think how on just a question, like, how far off do you think Thybulle is from Mikal Bridges?
God, I wish
the gap is that big.
He shot. The thing is, Thybulle's shot doesn't look that bad. It's like every time you see him shoot, you're like, okay, this. That's how I feel. The
difference with Mikal is Mikal has always shot in threes. Like, he shot threes in college, so he can get there, and so his confidence is there. But he has times where his confidence doesn't look as high. But he does so many. He slashes. He runs in transition. I mean, I still see Mikal Bridges as a defender that gets points for them, but I don't see him. I mean, I know they all say they're 3 and Ds, but he slashes and gets points other ways. Like,
no, he does.
I think that was the same kind of mode.
Yeah, and we don't have to rush with Thybulle anyway. Like, we have 2 more years of them. So I think the problem is, though, if you are going to trade Thybulle to maximize it, this would be the year to do it, because on top of his low salary, some other team could be like, damn, you guys have him for 2 more years at that price? Okay, yeah, that's an asset. If we wait 1 more year, we can wait to see if he develops it. But if he doesn't, then we lost a lot of value there. That would be the only ticker on that.
Got it.
So it's hard. I mean, yeah, I've always wanted. I wanted Thybulle to just slowly become Danny Green. Is what I've always wanted. Just slowly but surely. He needs to shoot more if he wants to do it, though, because I mean, the most shots he averaged.
Guys have made the transition. That's what I'm saying. Like, they have made that transition, and I think sometimes, and I think this year was, because last year we had Ben, and Ben got so much attention about not shooting. And we all know how that went. But I think this was the first year Thybulle sort of had the pressure of, dude, you got to go and you got to make a corner 3.
Yeah.
So I think now, for the first time, he kind of understands, because you can hear it all the time, but when that experience is the best teacher. So now he kind of like, I have to not only get in the gym and make these shots, but I got to get in the gym and make these shots in the pressure moments, the pressure shot, where you taking a shot, 1 or 2 shots a quarter, and you haven't touched the ball in minutes, and you got to make that shot.
Yep.
That's a different shot. That's a different game. And that's what a lot of people don't understand about guys shooting the ball and saying they got to make shots when they don't touch the basketball at all, but you got to make that shot. But that's why they get paid the big money, because you do knock it down. But I've seen guys develop into it, PJ Tucker, like, you can go down the line. You've seen guys that kind of get to that point. Bruce Bowen was the main guy from that.
Yep.
Bruce Bowen was getting the hacker shack, but in leading the league 3-point percentage at one time.
Yeah, it's
at
funny.
the same time. So you have to. It can happen. I think some of it's going to come down to, how confident he can be, and are they going to stick with him, and the team is going to give him the confidence that he can be that guy, because I think that matters also.
And do we have that patience? Because there is a window now. There's a definitive window.
So the team is going to give him that confidence. I think if they don't, then I don't see it getting better.
Yeah, because we're like, with Harden and Embiid, there's a definitive window for this team. Do they think Thybulle can become anything close to what they wanted him to be in that window? That's the thing you have to decide before his contract comes up, which is 2 years. So, I mean, yeah, I would have liked to see a little more progress this year, but yeah, this was the first real year that he didn't have, another guy like Ben on his team. So, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Now, when we're talking about just to kind of just sort of trying to gauge the value of a first round pick. So last year, Jaden Springer was our first round pick, and instead of, let's say we kept this first round pick, which is kind of a higher value asset, Jaden Springer or that first round pick? Because we don't really know what Jaden Springer can bring to the table as far as what he can do on NBA level, because he only played a couple minutes throughout the season. So would you say that a first round pick or Jaden Springer is kind of more of a valued asset?
Well, I think Jaden Springer having a year with the team should be the more value because he's been in the system. Right. He knows the players. So, even though he hasn't played very much, he's practiced, he got a feel for things. So he's more inclined to be the guy to step in and be able to hit the court, rolling and getting things going. The only way I can see a guy coming in this coming draft is if he's a true plug and play as far as fits a need. You say it's rebounding, a guy that just come in, he's just a bull on the boards, or we know he's not going to be a shooter because those guys just don't last to 23. So otherwise I don't really see a guy that's coming in is going to be that skilled that late, unless somebody's a young guy that, just blossoms as soon as he gets to the league. You have instances like that because some guys are so skilled or so talented, but the college game doesn't really allow for them to be that guy, but the NBA game does. So it does happen. I just think it's going to be fitting a need because it's not going to be many options for guys to just come and get the basketball or get plays and calls. That's just not going to happen with the guys that we have on our team.
Yeah. A lot of teams like the what's under the box instead of the item. You know what I mean? Like, the potential for more might be the reason why I want it. Like, let's see what's under the box. It could be worse. Could be a lot worse. Could be nothing under the box, really. So, yeah. But, yeah, also then maybe teams just want the ability to develop that player from, like, the onset. Like, oh, you already wasted a year in your programs. You come over here, we're going to have to teach. I mean, I don't know. I do think, though, yeah, if it's a team that we called and said, hey, who do you want at 23? They're like, all right, we do actually want this guy. And we know how drafts are. And we NFL draft, NBA draft, we get like the potential of these guys that we haven't seen yet. It's almost like I have a feeling it's kind of like taking a car off the lot. Like the moment you take the car off the lot, it loses like a percentage of its value. I feel like with the draft, it's kind of the same way. It's like, oh, Springer, we saw what he did, but it's like, well, he didn't really get playing time. You didn't really see what he could do. But it's like, no, but the guy that's coming out, like that's the guy I think is going to be
exactly.
Ticket. It's like, of course he is, because he hasn't played yet.
And it's the same people that did all the rating on the previous guys, the same people that saying this guy's better.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I mean, it's. But you're right, though. You're a guy who, Springer didn't look bad. He just didn't really get an opportunity. So it's like, why should he get dinged for that? But I mean, I'm sure he does have value. It's not as much if he had a great rookie season compared to like maybe a guy that played for a really bad team who got 20 minutes and, bulk put up stats on a bad team that didn't matter at all in garbage time, right? So it's hard.